exactly like Julian Casablancas. You don't need to tell me. I know. So this is how to sound like Julian Casablancas on the record. Yeah. But wait, which Julian? Which record? And that's this Julian on these records, aka the early stroke vocal. If you're watching this, you may want to be one of the Strokes. You are probably a musician of some kind.
You have a band.
Yeah, we're terrible. Please come.
Sure.
Or maybe just an indie fan.
You guys rock.
Strokers, stroker ace, stroke me.
And that's fine too. Shouldn't you be busy trying to find your own voice? Imitation is suicide. If you grew up in America, you'll have heard 1,000 times to just be yourself. Yeah, I don't want to be myself. I fucking suck.
You are a fucking nobody.
So, here it is. Smoke some cigs, drink some beer, lay down some shit vocals, slap on some distortion, compress it, cut out the low end, and that's it. Call it a day. Done. Value added. Value received. Now fuck off.
Fuck off!
No, fuck off.
Oh, you're still here? Then let's get into it. They didn't invent this sound, Gordy and the boys, but they definitely made it popular and brought it to the mainstream. What does that mean? It means Interpol's Turn on the Bright Lights in 2002. It means The Killer's Hot Fuzz in 2004. And it definitely means Arctic Monkeys, whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not, in 2006. Basically, anyone making music with distorted vocals post-2001, including me, is most likely taking inspo from Is This It? And if the artist doesn't produce their own music, which many of them don't, they'll go to the producer and say something like, "Hey, this is great, but can you make it sound more like the Strokes?" Just know there are many roads to Rome. This is but one of them. There are no rules except one, do whatever the fuck you want, and two, if it sounds good, it is good. To get this sound, you need to consider two things: the man and the machine. That is to say, your vocal technique and the production, what you do to it once you've got it. So, what do you need?
Guns. Lots of guns.
Neo. No one has ever done anything like this.
That's why it's going to work.
So what separates a good distorted vocal from a bad one? First, using the right amount of distortion. It should be about as heavy as the rest of the song. Second, getting a good quality distortion. I'll save you the details, but for now, we can just file this under Rule 2. And lastly, most critically, getting a good quality performance. Because the performance is always more important than the production. And I know we all want to believe you press this button, turn that dial, and boom, you're Mick Jagger. Turns out, that's not how it works. Buy this vintage Les Paul guitar and get the girl. Okay, that one actually does work. But there's more to life than getting laid. Not that much more, but more, right? So let's try to understand what about Julian's performance makes it so captivating. He seemed impressed by the way. Julian's voice is gritty, raw, cigarettes and alcohol. He's not technical, which means no vocal runs, sparse vibrato at the ends of phrases. Hell, he doesn't even use falsetto but for one moment. Technical singers are very, look at me, look at my high note, look at my complex runs. The absolute antithesis of Julian's I really don't want to be here attitude. He creates interest with that power, not the carefully honed finesse you'd expect from a pop star. His moves.
Half arm swing.
Oh, right, that's one of your moves, right?
You know? I mean, yeah, I guess so. I didn't even really think about it. It was just a natural one.
to summarize how to sing like Julian in a few oversimplified steps, I would humbly offer you this. Step 1. Learn to sing. Get decent relative pitch and a tone that doesn't want to make you blow your brains out when you listen back to it. Practice on easier songs that you actually like. Gets broken every time. This is where I'd presume 80% just succumb to the cringe and give up. Totally understandable. Nice knowing you. You must embrace the cringe. Don't hinder yourself with the question of, what if I suck? Rest assured, you suck. That's the point.
None of us were friends with Charlie Parker. That's the point.
And God only knows I have some embarrassing audition stories. But I also have some crazy you can't make this shit up stories. So, if I know anything, it's that you don't get one without the other.
Yes, sir. Punch me in the face. Go ahead.
I'm gonna pull you in close, gonna wrap you up tight, gonna play with the braids that you came here with tonight. I'm gonna hold your face and dose the snow that fell. Step 2. Once you can sing, you should learn to use vocal fry.
Oh my, your luck, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
Why are you talking like that? It's an affectation. Pretty annoying, isn't it?
Not too difficult, but will require some practice to control. You can also shortcut learning this technique by developing a filthy smoking habit.
Yes, give him his cigarettes. It won't be the nicotine that kills you, Mr. Bond.
Dehydrating your voice with alcohol, often in the morning after a night out. Lastly, you could just get sick. Insert John Lennon's Twist and Shout. Step 3. Learn to safely scream with compression. I know the word compression is an overloaded catch-all. I'm talking about the compression of your vocal anatomy. Your throat, your facial mask, your vocal folds. Learning to control and compress those elements will unlock Julian's special ultimate moves. His pièces de résistance. In my opinion, these are his best sounding moments, the best parts of his best songs. And if you disagree, well, that sounds like a serious issue. You should get that looked at. And lastly, for some final tips, 1, probably don't take lessons.
I'm pretty sure that he never had any formal training in singing, but I don't think he needed it.
And 2, pitch is not as important as people think.
Listen again here, though.
Tell us a story. I know you're not boring.
Tell us a story. The pitch is sharp. His pitch is kind of not all over the place, but certainly not precise. That's kind of the way that this vibe works. And when we use tools at our disposal to get these sounds, we have to remember that it's more about character and less about technique.
And it was like me, 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 boy, 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 boy. And we sat and we laughed like hell as we listened to it and then threw the cassette away.
Right,
It was like,
right, I just can't see Kurt
Cobain. No, it didn't really.
Welcome to part 2, you made it. So, production. There's a lot of voodoo hippie bullshit surrounding how to get the best sound. What makes a good sound? What expensive gear should I buy to sound good? Like anything else, it's a skill issue.
It's not the ride, it's the rider.
It's practice and experience and trial and error. That's the unsexy truth. Listen, can you win a Grammy from your bedroom? Sure.
Did we win?
You guys won.
Nothing's impossible, right? Can you win a Grammy from your bedroom? I don't know. Can you convert the Pope to Islam? Because if yes, then yes, I guess. The rule here is still, if it sounds good, it is good. So let's just stick to that, shall we? For posterity, let's briefly touch on what did Gordon Raphael use for Julian's vocal. Well, I can tell you what he didn't use. He didn't use a Peavey Schmeevy practice amp, as the legends foretold. He ran an Audio-Technica into an Avalon 737, which is what blessed us with such sexy distortion. Gordon and Julian would push the vacuum tubes into a sweet overdrive. Okay, so that's it then? We can just copy him?
Fuck! Do the same thing!
Right?
Right? Wrong.
See, there are just two issues. The first...
Money. Okay. I smell money.
Quality analog gear, like the Avalon 737, can get really expensive, really fast, and with diminishing returns. You have to spend a lot of money before your hardware starts sounding better than your free-ish software plugins. But enough talk. Let's get to actually getting the sound, and let's make it good.
So you gotta make it good. Because we're not gonna sit here and jack off all day.
Remember the iron rule. There are no rules. And the second iron rule, if it sounds good, it is good. Mix with your ears. Try to resist blindly following what people say are the best settings. Question: what is the target vibe? I would use words like vintage to evoke nostalgia, lo-fi, heavy on vibe, heavy on color, sometimes aggressive, live sounding.
We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Again.
Fucking thing sucks! I can't do it. We'll do it live.
To achieve vintage and lo-fi, we're gonna boost and cut different frequencies of our voice. This is called equalization. For color and vibe, we're gonna leverage the power of distortion, also known as soft clipping, warmth, saturation, overdrive, England, Great Britain, the United Kingdom. These words all kind of mean the same thing. And lastly, there's compression, which is distortion's slightly less sexy twin sister who isn't such a cold-hearted bitch. If you take a good look at compression, the main thing you'll notice is that it compresses. But it also offers the pleasant side effect of light distortion. Pretty neat, huh? And I know what you're thinking. Actually, I don't know what you're thinking. Let me know in the comments. For it to sound live, treat the vocal as just another instrument. In pop, vocals are mixed well above the accompaniment. Stay away from reverb, we're not shoegazing. And no double tracking either. I don't care if it was good enough for John Lennon, okay? Save it. And don't forget to consider the proximity effect. This is something you can mess around with. The closer you sing to the mic, the more prevalent the booms, EQ. And the question isn't, should I high pass my vocals? The question is, how much? The most aggressive high pass on Is This It is this it?
See, I'm trying, I don't even like it. I just had to get to your apartment. Now I'm
And you should add your own salt, right? You can also reduce the high end if you want. This gives you a more vintage 60s radio vibe.
Somebody stole the beer. I can see right now what our big problem is going to be. It's going to be explaining every single joke.
Okay, compression. The answer is yes. The question, how much should I use? Now, don't be shy. Hey, sometimes you gotta rock out with your cock out, right? I use a multi-band compressor after the EQ and a glue compressor in front of it. What do those words mean? Hey, man, I just work here.
I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my
Distortion. If you want color, you have to go hardware. That's what some people say, and I somewhat agree, but you can still get a pretty great sound with stock software plugins. Okay, distortion, this is what a noob hears when they listen to the Strokes. The problem is that it's all they hear, when it's only a piece of the puzzle. Everyone knows you need distorted vocals to sound like the Strokes. The problem lies with executing it the right way. And I'm not just saying this to be an asshole. There are definitely right ways and wrong ways to do this shit. Good distortion means analog clipping, soft clipping. It doesn't mean this.
Tell me how you love the city. I know that you wanna run.
This is called hard clipping. Digital distortion. This is bad. The distortion effect you get when pushing digital gear into overdrive is rarely ever useful or sought after. Back in the days of analog tape, sound engineers recorded with as much level as possible in order to overcome the tape hiss. And over time, overdriving the tape became a sort of fashion, as the saturated tape produced a unique compression that sounded great on drums and guitars alike. As long as you're overdriving something in the world of atoms and not bits, vacuum tubes, transformers, or magnetic tape, you're gonna get analog distortion. There are tons of ways to achieve this effect. You can plug your mic directly into a 10-watt practice amp and record the headphone jack output. Here's an example. I remember being very satisfied about this at the time, thinking, wow, this sounds so destroyed, so fucking ripped up. This method is quick and dirty and fun and gets you pretty far. The cons include needing a guitar amp, no flexibility as the distortion is baked in, and it's gonna be noisy, it's a guitar amp. The professional method would be to just use some dedicated analog gear and overdrive the electronics. This sounds the best, is the most authentic, and is commensurately expensive. As a bonus method, you can sing through a vintage telephone if you want to be a complete asshole. I would recommend just using an overdrive plugin or two. The stock Ableton plugin's not bad at all, it's free.
There's no sense in telling me a wisdom of the fool won't set you free. It's no problem of mine, but it's a problem I find. Living a life that I can't live.
You could buy expensive brand name plugins, but why would you?
And why would I do that?
Marketing? You could also... In general, it's very easy to overdo this effect. Do not overdo it. It's not a crutch to cover up your shitty singing. What you want is worn-in blue jeans, not completely destroyed. Whatever you choose, don't forget to learn your gear. Most of the time, it doesn't just work. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. And remember, don't be yourself. Nobody wants that. Unless you're Pete Townsend, then I guess it's okay.
You found me wearing purple.
Some people have a hard time explaining rock and roll. Really explain rock and roll. Maybe Pete Townsend. But it's a voice that says, here I am, and fuck you if you can't understand me. And one of these people is gonna save the world.
Sounds amazing. But it's a sad world when people have to impersonate people impersonating people for recognition. What happened to being yourself? Homie, I'm glad you enjoyed this song. Thank you for watching, but you've got this all wrong. What happened to being yourself? Yeah, that's not even what you want. The question is not, should I be myself? The question is, am I gonna be something or not?
Either you're somebody.
Nobody.
You made it to the end of the video. Drop a comment with your favorite Julian vocalization. If you disagree with anything I said, though I can't see why you would, let me know in the comments. All right, love you. Peace.